if you're watching this right now, I really want you to think about what Michelle just said, because things happen to us each and every day, and that gives you an opportunity to create content. Don't overthink it. Think about the things that impact you and then push that out.
Welcome to the Coffee and Questions podcast. I am your host, Michelle Berman-Michael, and my mission with this podcast is simple: to help realtors and loan officers across the world tap into the value Instagram can have for them and their business. To me, organic business that comes to us is the name of the game. On this show, you're going to hear from myself, other experts across social media, and also others that are just like you, selling real estate and doing loans and doing it at a high level on social media. All right, guys, welcome back to another episode of the Coffee and Questions podcast. I am joined by a new friend, none other than, in my opinion, the godfather of mortgage and mortgage marketing, Bill Hart.
So excited to be here, Michelle, and I can't wait to get to know you. And I feel like the friendship is developing and people get to watch and listen as it happens. So fired up to be here today with you.
In a leadership position, the importance of using social as kind of a weapon for you. My thought process is, as a leader, you have to be on it more than ever. And I think unfortunately, the culture is the opposite. I think a lot of people in the leadership roles think that because they're leaders, they don't have to be. And I just really wholeheartedly disagree.
Here's where this all started for me, just to try and give you some context, Michelle. I've got 1,000 books behind me here. Like, it's a ridiculous library. It's much larger than, you can see on screen. And one of the books on my shelf back here is Gary Vaynerchuk's first book, Crush It. And it was an orange book, and it was obnoxious at the time because Gary can be bigger than life. And his whole thing back then was, and this is probably 12 years ago, it was like video. You guys, you got to start using video. And so I was a coach at Building Champions. You just interviewed Daniel Harkavy, and none of the other coaches were doing this. And I just thought, man, I'm going to jump into this. And if you go to my YouTube channel and you look at some of my 12-year-old videos, my audio sounded like this, like I was back here and you're kind of leaning in, like I think he's saying something good, but I'm not sure. Lighting was terrible, background was terrible, I was terrible, everything was terrible. So I want to encourage you that if you're watching or listening to this right now and you're saying, man, I've got a little guy or a little gal on my shoulder, it says, psst, you don't look good, you don't sound good, like, just stop it, right? Just stop it, because they meet you at Starbucks, they meet you at church, they meet you at a soccer game. They know what you look like. So I just started recording video. In my opinion, if you're not visible, you're invisible. And if you're invisible, you're just not in the game. You're not in the game. And you cannot tell me as a leader that you're too busy. Man, I'm too busy. I don't have time for social. It's like, well, cool. Do you have time to be buried and have dirt thrown over the top of you? Because you're just not going to be in the game. You're goodbye. See ya. Yeah. You're going to be selling shoes at Nordstrom, and I'll go buy some nice shoes from you, but you're not going to be in this game anymore. For leaders, here's just some quick examples. Patrick Palmer is a guy that used to be in our master's coach program. He's with Cross Country, and he's brilliant at this. He'll talk about a lesson learned as a leader. And so I would follow Patrick. I would follow him on LinkedIn. I'd follow him on Facebook and on Instagram. And you'll begin to see some of his posts about the things that he's learned. So if you're a leader, maybe the notes that you start making each and every day are, you know what? That young person had never heard of that principle before. They didn't know that. Like, for example, they never heard of I call it the Oreo cookie technique. You start with a good thing, you get to the admonition or the thing they need to do better, and then you close with encouragement. You've probably heard this before. It's very standard, right? But I mean, I've been in this business for 30 years. I've been coaching for 20. I've got a million of those things in my head. Mm-hmm. So do many of you that are leaders right now. And all you need to do is capture them, turn on your camera, and just get to it. Get to the point. Give a nugget that's going to encourage somebody. If you're a leader, start doing this immediately. I mean, like, I'm not kidding. Do this today. Record a video today. Don't worry about your equipment setup. Do this if you have to. But get a video out today and start encouraging people with leadership lessons. I believe that's the weapon.
Personally, my entire team, I have 6 employees all across the country, and I have had them all start rereading High Performance Habits for some of them. And for some of them, it was their first time around. Just yesterday, when I was doing one of my walks or one of my bike rides, I was listening to it on Audible, and I have always said in my career, and especially more so now being a new mom and being somebody who's really trying to continue to build influence in this industry, when I die, I want people to talk about me, not because of what I've done, but because of what I've done to, or how I've changed their hearts. And for me, social media, anybody can teach you how to do something better, like creating a reel, creating a post, doing a better video, having a better hook. But can someone actually change your heart meter, right? Can we change the way that you're producing content so that you're connecting, so that your content lands with people? A lot of times as leaders, we get stuck in today and we're so focused on doing what we need to do today that we forget about, what do I want people to think about me? Or how do I want to live 10 years from now, 15 years from now, 20 years from now? And my 3 words are, I want to be present, but also I want to be adventurous. I want to go do things. I want to experience things. And then the 3rd word for me is passionate. As a leader, I think it's our job to be so incredibly passionate about what we do that it just bleeds out of us. And I think, to your point, getting your phone out, taking a video and recording it, if you can focus on talking about the things for you, your bucket is inspire, right? Can you open up your phone and record a video about something that inspired you today, even if it has nothing to do with mortgages? Because guess what? Every piece of our life, we could tie into work easily, but none of that matters if nobody can hear it, right? Or if nobody.
That's right. I want you, if you're watching this right now, I really want you to think about what Michelle just said, because things happen to us each and every day, and that gives you an opportunity to create content. Don't overthink it. Think about the things that impact you and then push that out. And if you're a leader, I'm always looking for a way to bridge that into a leadership lesson of some sort, right? Right now in the mortgage and the real estate industry, people are scared. People are nervous. They don't know what to do. Like, is it always going to be like this? Is it ever going to get back? One of the things you can do as a leader, if you're a young leader and you've never experienced this before, you can't say what I can say. But if you're a young leader, you're going to have to tell the story about something that you read, a TED talk that you watched, a quote that inspired you, something that you experienced firsthand viewing another leader. Like, a simple one right now is communicate more. In the absence of your proactive communication as a leader, people make up their own narrative, and it's usually negative. So speak into that. Casey Crawford, the CEO at Movement Mortgage, does this magnificently. And he's always talking to us about who we are as an organization and where we're going. And we're getting bigger to get better, not just to get bigger. That kind of communication is inspiring to people. So inspire your people. Speak to them. Let them know where you're at. Let them know what our possibilities are. Tell them clearly what they need to be doing right now.
If there's one thing I've learned as a leader myself, is that we get really busy. We get really focused on being busy, and we get really focused on the next big deal, right? We have a huge contract that we're navigating right now with a mortgage company. It's a fantastic deal for us, but I've gotten so busy in that I forgot about the things that make me me. And Grant Wise is he's my business coach. He's been my business coach for 3 years, and he made me think about this. As a college athlete, I swam competitively for 20 years, swam for Rutgers all through college. Became a very elite level CrossFitter, and then retired to become a mom. But he goes, Michelle, can you explain to me your recovery routine when you were in college swimming at that level? And, I got a massage twice a week. I iced either my shoulder or some body part every single day after practice. I was going to the physical therapy room 2 or 3 days a week. I was doing ice baths, cryotherapy, all of the things. And he goes, when's the last time you had a massage, Michelle? And I was like, shit, Grant, I don't know, a year?
Exactly.
And he goes, and you wonder why you're getting close to feeling overwhelmed. And the terminology that a lot of people use is burnt out. And so I think as leaders, if we want to continue to show up as leaders, we have to remember, how did we get to where we are currently in the first place? And go back to that, and then talk about it on social media.
What I know as a leader is what Michelle just said about recovery is absolutely huge for you. And I think there's 2 paths that you can go down in the market like we're in right now. The easy path is to say, you know what, I'm just going to work all the time, and I'm going to be attached to this all the time. And because I have to, out of fear, I'm constantly connected to it. My family complains about it. My kids joke about me being on the phone all the time, but I have to because I'm fearful. The other path is for you to say, I have to create margin in my life so that I can show up as a better leader. And so the easiest thing that I would tell you to do is stop binge watching whatever you're binge watching, go to bed a little bit earlier, wake up a little bit earlier, start your morning by controlling what you put into your mind, read something that is inspirational, aspirational, positive, leave the news off, just turn it off, and then create a commitment where you're going to start talking to your team members every single day. And when I say talking, I mean listening. Ask them how they are. How's it going? How are you feeling right now? What's working? What's not working? You don't have to be a professional coach to just have a conversation to connect with people's hearts.
If you enjoyed this episode, please go follow my guests on social media. And if you enjoyed this podcast, please consider leaving us a review wherever you consume this content.